a look at another type of polygon, another type of frequency polygon. This next type of frequency polygon is what we call a cumulative frequency polygon. Cumulative frequency polygon. Cumulative frequency polygon. And we're going to use the same data set that we used before. If you recall, we said that we had Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. We said that we had those three groups in our sample. And we said that the frequency for the Democrats was 40, the frequency for the Republicans was 40, the frequency for the Independents was 10. Those were the frequencies for those groups. Now, when you're doing a cumulative frequency polygon, you need to add on another column. Not only do you need the party column, the frequency column, but you also need a column that we call the cumulative frequency column. So we add that column on, cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency column. Now for the cumulative frequency column, we combine these frequencies as we go further down in the table. For example, up to this point, in the first row, the cumulative frequency is 40. We've only checked 40 survey forms that were from Democrats. When we reach the second row, we have 40 additional individuals, making a total of 80. 80 is the cumulative frequency at that point. Cumulative means combined, the combined or total frequency at a particular point. So at this point, the combined frequency or the total frequency is 80. We go to the next row, the independents, we have 10 more individuals. So the combined or total frequency at this point would be what number? Right, would be 90. Now, after we finish constructing the cumulative frequency table, then we draw two sets of axes, a vertical axis and a horizontal axis. On the horizontal axis, we put the same thing we did before. We put the party. We would have the Democratic Party, we would have the Republican Party, and we would have the Independent Party. Now, on the horizontal axis, instead of writing the frequency on the horizontal axis this time, we put the cumulative, C-U-M-U-L-A-T-I-V-E. We put the cumulative frequency, F-R-E-Q for short. We put the cumulative frequency on the vertical axis, not just the frequency, like we did before with the frequency polygon. With the cumulative frequency polygon, we have to put the cumulative frequency on the vertical axis. Now, we put the scales in the same places that we did before on the horizontal axis. On the vertical axis, the largest number we have is 90. The smallest number is 40. So we have to set up a scale on the vertical axis that will include all of these numbers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with 0 where the two axes intersect, and then I'm going to count by 25. I know that that way I will be able to include all of my numbers. So I will have 0, 25, 50, 75, and then 100. And once again, I try to, as close as possible, make the same amount of space between these numbers. The same amount of space between 0 and 25 that I have between 25 and 50 and so forth. Now, from there, I started with the Democrats and I put a point on my cumulative frequency up to the Democrats. The Democrats are here. There are 40 Democrats up to this point. That's the first cumulative frequency, 40. So I go all the way up to 40 and I put a dot. That represents my cumulative frequency up to that point. When I get to the Republicans, my cumulative frequency is 80. So I go straight up to 80 from the Republicans and I put a dot. When I get to the Independents, my cumulative frequency is 90. So I go over to the Independents, I go straight up to 90, and I put a dot. And then I just take a straight edge or a ruler and I connect my dots. I connect my dots. And there I have my cumulative frequency graph, my cumulative frequency polygon. So there we have 4 different ways of picturing data, and there are others. Another name for the cumulative frequency polygon is the Ogive. That's just another way of saying cumulative frequency polygon. And that is, of course, the last of the 4 ways of picturing data that we will discuss for this lesson. Once again, you have the circle graph, you have the histogram, the frequency polygon, and the ogive or the cumulative frequency polygon.